Good morning and welcome everyone. I'm Mark Howard from Biolab and we're delighted to be hosting Long COVID Day. We have a large number of people watching on a webinar, so I'd just like to wish them all a very good day as well and to say good morning and welcome. Just a little bit of housekeeping for the people who are here. Can you silence your mobiles, please? And also, I've just been asked by the hotel just to say that if the fire alarm goes off, you need to head for the fire exits. There's no drill today. It would be the real thing if the fire alarm goes off. And there's a fire exit. Every door leads to a fire exit. We've got to keep on schedule for the benefit of the virtual attendees. So Dr. Jenny Goodman is going to chair this morning's session and she'll be cracking the whip, and I'll be picking up the pieces for the afternoon session. In terms of questions, we'll be doing questions at the end of the morning session and the end of the afternoon session to the practitioner panel. So there'll be no questions during each lecture. And if you're asking a question, you won't be heard unless you have a roving microphone. So if you want to ask questions, you'll need to stick your hand up and someone will come to you with a microphone. So this meeting is the brainchild of Rachel Nicol. And we're delighted to support that, and the practitioners who are presenting today are all well known to Biolab. And today isn't about debating the rights and the wrongs of the UK's approach to COVID, but it's about seeking and sharing the best possible knowledge for the benefit of those who are suffering from long COVID. And according to data from the Office for National Statistics, by the end of January this year, about 1.5 million people in the UK are suffering from one form of long COVID or another. Many of those are 45% of those are reporting symptoms a year after their infection. So this is a patient population on top of the tens, if not hundreds of thousands who are already suffering from post-viral syndromes that we've all been associated with for many years. So I was thinking about this introduction yesterday and what I would say to lead into our speakers. I did a quick Google search just to see what the latest news was. And an article in The Guardian on Wednesday caught my attention. It was an interview with Professor Danny Altman, who's an immunologist at Imperial College. And he perhaps highlighted the significance of long COVID in a better way than I can in these few minutes. So I'm going to quote what he had to say. The UK's current approach to COVID fails to take the impact of infections sufficiently seriously. More needs to be done to aid diagnosis and treatment of long COVID. And when asked whether long COVID could lead to a generation affected by disability, he said, totally. And I quote, he went on to say, this is a global problem. We've got at least 5 million people on the planet with long COVID. And I think that's a very conservative estimate. And they've all got a wide array of problems, and they are big problems. It's going to drive people out of housing, out of work, and will lead to suicides. He went on to say that all the scientists and medics working in this field mean really, really well. But he added, I think we've all got to kind of put our egos to one side and get out of our silos. He noted that some people who were infected with the earlier SARS coronavirus are still experiencing symptoms now, 8 years later. And he went on, we need to be seriously joined up in our efforts to work out what long COVID is and how we're going to diagnose it and how we're going to treat it. And when asked what had most surprised him about long COVID, he responded, partly just how ghastly and pernicious and prevalent it is, and adding that new cases emerged even among those who have been vaccinated. And he said, you can't just shut your eyes and turn away and say, I've lost interest and it's not a problem to me anymore, because the virus calls you out on that. So on that note, I'm going to hand you over to our esteemed speakers so that we can all learn more about what we can do to help. There's a few changes to the program this morning, I'm afraid. So our Biolabs Laboratory Director, Mark Adams, and Dr. Shide Puria are unable to speak this morning, but we're confident the changes we've made to the programs will still remain of great benefit to you. And Dr. Goodman is going to chair this morning's session. And I hand over to Jenny, who will introduce our first speaker. Have a great day. Have a great day, everybody.
Thank you, Mark. Yes, so I'm chairing the morning and my job is to be very fierce with all the speakers about time. If you see me going like that, I'm not just stretching my fingers, I'm saying you've got 10 minutes left. And if I do that, you've got 5 minutes left. So we are taking questions, but we're taking them all together at 12:15 during the practitioner panel. So if questions arise for you during the speeches, the talks before that, please just note them down and save them up. So without further ado, I would like to hand you over to the first lecture from Dr. Rachel Nicholl.
And I'm suitably terrified now because Jenny is such a scary person.